So the Nintendo Switch 2 was just officially announced. Of course, the leak spoiled the surprise, and we learned virtually nothing new in this trailer that revealed Nintendo's new console. But I will say this new reveal from Nintendo kind of proves that things have really changed for Nintendo in the last couple generations. Leading up to the reveal, there were so many people that felt like Nintendo was stuck in their old ways, like they weren't going to call it the Switch 2, or it wouldn't have backwards compatibility, or it would have some ridiculous gimmick. And in the end, none of those turned out to be true. Sure, this trailer does seem to confirm the mouse mode, but this gimmick isn't at the same level of risk as Virtual Boy, GameCube, or Wii U, and in fact, this amount of quirkiness has proven successful for them in the past with the DS series. No, Nintendo stuck pretty closely to what everyone agreed would be the safest bet, and in that way, this is kind of the end of an era for them. On the other hand, I've already seen some reactions from people that are feeling like maybe this is too safe, just more of the same. Granted, this reaction is from my friends that have Steam Decks and maybe have moved on from the Switch ecosystem, but it is interesting nonetheless. So yeah, despite not learning anything new, there is surprisingly a lot to discuss about this trailer, so let's get into it. Yesterday afternoon in the Nerd Nest chat, we were talking about the rumors that Nintendo was going to finally announce the Switch 2 today at 8 a.m. Eastern. This came after weeks and weeks, honestly what felt like months of extremely credible leaks. Bill from Nerd Nest even got his hands on a dummy model that looked like it took too much effort to be fake. It was provided to him by an accessory maker, and so it was largely accepted that this was the real deal, and that turned out to be true as well. There are some minor differences, like the kickstand on Bill's dummy model is different from the final model, but even as Bill was showcasing this, there were some leaks that described a U-shaped kickstand, so all in all, this just seemed like a minor detail difference. Anyway, by late December, we had also learned about the magnetic Joy-Cons, larger screen, and larger console overall. And finally, we got what was apparently an accurate render of the colorway that we would see in this trailer. A sleek black finish with the trademark blue and red now relegated to accent colors seen in the base of the analog sticks, as well as the flared out connector for the Joy-Cons. The last leak we got was about the optical sensor that existed in that connector for the Joy-Cons, to which everyone speculated that we'd get a mouse mode for these Joy-Cons, and that's actually quite similar to what Lenovo implemented in their Legion Go handheld. In any case, right on schedule, well, almost, Nintendo released their trailer at 8:15 a.m. Eastern. The trailer is 2 minutes, 21 seconds, and honestly goes over everything that we already learned. It shows the new Switch is bigger, it has a USB-C port on the top now, there's the U-shaped kickstand that goes back nearly the full 180 degrees, the Joy-Cons are black with sleeker edges, and the aforementioned accent colors. Although the screen and tablet are bigger, there are some parts of the trailer where you can see the screen bezels, and note that they are a bit on the chunky side for those who would be bothered by that. Nonetheless, the trailer then shows the Joy-Cons complete with a lanyard attachment with the connector side down to the table. This essentially confirms mouse mode, and the Joy-Cons even look like little mice with the lanyard sticking out like tails as they scuttle around the table. Extremely adorable, Nintendo. In any case, Nintendo of course has a storied history with mouse-like interfaces. It starts with the mouse for the SNES with Mario Paint and extends to the DS, 3DS, and even Wii and Wii U. Having a mouse mode here can allow them to explore that back catalog via emulation, but I absolutely expect that we'll see original games using it too. It also kind of ironically means that Switch 2 has the capacity for better mouse controls than the Steam Deck, but that's neither here nor there. That's not a slight to the Steam Deck, obviously. I love the trackpads, and the trackpads are going to be obviously much easier to use in handheld mode, so there's that. Actually, as I say that, I do wonder if the new button below the home button is not a button at all, but instead an optical sensor. That would make it so that you can still have a pointer interface in handheld mode. Who knows? In any case, the trailer goes on to show the Joy-Cons connecting to the tablet without the need for a rail, so this confirms the leaks of magnetic Joy-Cons. Finally, there's some gameplay of Mario Kart. I don't know if this track is in Mario Kart 8 or not, but people have already pointed out that the DK model is completely new and updated to match the Mario movie, so there is that. The trailer then mentions that the Switch 2 will be backwards compatible, meaning that it will play Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games, but it will also play original Nintendo Switch games, either physical or digital. It does clarify that some games may not be fully supported, and this was at least somewhat expected too. For example, there are Labo games that may not work because they require Joy-Cons to be inserted, and the Joy-Cons here are a different size. Additionally, it's still unclear whether these new Joy-Cons have infrared cameras like those in the original, so that could be a different feature set as well. Lastly, the trailer ends with a date for a Nintendo Direct where we will learn more, April 2nd. That's also when pre-orders go live on Best Buy. So yeah, this seems to confirm that we're getting a June release date as expected. So the trailer is all pretty interesting, but why do I say that this trailer feels like the end of an era for Nintendo? For me, it's because they didn't try anything too crazy. They established right out of the gate that this is the same Switch you've grown to love. It's going to play the same Switch 1 games, both physical and digital. It doesn't have a weird name like Switch U, New Nintendo Switch, or even the Super Switch. It's just the Switch 2. And the one gimmick they did allude to in this trailer is not alienating in the least. It's a mouse mode. It's likely going to help with supporting DS and 3DS games, maybe even Wii and Wii U games. I also expect some original games to support it too, but it's not something that third parties are going to feel forced to support at all. So yeah, in a way, Switch 2 is just more of the same. To me, that's not a bad thing. I think that more of the same is exactly what Nintendo needed to do. The Switch is one of the best-selling gaming platforms of all time, and the best approach for Nintendo was to ride those coattails as much as possible. So in my eyes, they needed to have backwards compatibility, they needed to call it the Switch 2, and it needed to build on what the Switch already was. Nintendo has been considered unpredictable forever now. Sometimes that worked in their favor, and sometimes it led to a flop. But this time, Nintendo did something they haven't done in a long time. They were completely and utterly predictable. Now, I do think that predictable and more of the same hits a little bit different in a post-Steam Deck world. Don't get me wrong, the Steam Deck sold less than 10 million units, and the Switch sold over 100 million units. I can divide. I'm not going to sit here and act like the Steam Deck means that the Switch 2 is going to flop. No, of course not. But when the Switch first came out, it was something that basically anyone could make a case for buying. You have a big Steam library? Okay, Switch is still worth it. You already have a PlayStation or Xbox? Fine, Switch is still worth it. Does someone who has a Steam Deck need a Switch 2? Well, it's not as clear-cut as it was before. That's not to mention all the other PC handhelds, and then the fact that Sony and Microsoft would like to release handhelds of their own. Being handheld is not a unique selling proposition anymore. It's closer to being a necessity for your ecosystem. If you're gonna sell hardware in a post-Steam Deck world, you should consider a handheld format in your hardware ecosystem. And then we get to power. We don't yet know how Steam Deck power is going to compare to the Switch 2. Certainly Switch 2 is going to be more power efficient, but it'll also have a smaller battery. Then there's the looming threat of a Steam Deck 2. Again, I don't say all this to say that Switch 2 is going to flop or that Steam Deck is going to have this tremendous market share. I think all I'm really saying is something that isn't controversial at all. It's not going to be nearly as easy for Switch 2 to reach 100 million units as it was for them with the original Switch. Times have changed, and although Nintendo's jobs are going to do an incredible job of selling hardware, we've also seen the Wii U have abysmal hardware sales despite an excellent first-party catalog. Switch 2 won't be Wii U, not by a long shot, but job's not done for Nintendo, and I'm really interested to see where this all lands. What do you think? Real quick, I know a few of you have been wondering where I've been. Please don't worry, I've just been taking some much needed time. Unlike some others, I am not a full-time YouTuber, and so I still have a whole ass full-time job in addition to my family, so I really get time for me, and that's what I've been doing. I've been enjoying Marvel Rivals, relaxing, and spending more time with my family through the holidays. I hope you all had great holidays and a great new year. I know this time can also be rough for some people, so I am wishing you all the best. All right, I'm out. Goodbye.